All right. Hi, my name's Henry.
I'm Mike.
Oh, and I'm Richard.
Welcome to episode 19 of The Heroes You Deserve. We have Swamp Thing and we got the Ravens, and we're going to be raving about the recent controversy, I guess you could say, the unevenness, bias of the fans versus critics versus blog sites and bloggers and Rotten Tomatoes. That's going to be
it's all about Rotten Tomatoes and the coverage that Rotten Tomatoes has gotten, and what does that mean to the average movie viewer? Are you supposed to be swayed by this? Is this supposed to matter to you, or do you just go watch movies that you want to go watch?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, like when
that's sort of the overlying thesis of this discussion is like, where does that line get drawn between what you regard as a valued opinion or something that you're willing to discard because something you want to see is going to be on film?
And it's such a different era nowadays, because pre-internet it was film critics and it was all print, and nobody, a lot of them may have not been comic book fans, perhaps, or familiar with the universe, or there wasn't access for the common people to make a review. It was all based on the media critics, newspaper critics.
Yeah, it was more genre based back when it was strictly print, and in some small respects just the old Atta movies, the Roger and Ebert.
Sure. People aspire to be a film critic for newspaper, TV.
The old Siskel and Ebert days, as I was getting at, where they had their quick snippets inside of a local newscast.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
It was a quick yay or nay. You didn't get too much of you didn't get to drill down into what it was specifically about the film.
Right. And of course, internet lends itself because people can make YouTube videos, or they can go on their own website, or they can go on Facebook or whatever, and just
make comments on making comments and talking about how the movie sucked or how the movie was awesome.
And if you talk with enough confidence in these situations, you can come off as maybe perhaps even knowing what you're talking about.
Right, I guess.
Yeah, not unlike us assholes. Just we speak. We think we know things. We know how we feel. We can say them with earnest, and they're said matter-of-factly. So, are they true?
And there's three of us, so that kind of upsets the balance. I mean, that unevens the balance, I guess you could say.
To some extent, the three of us, while we have wildly differing opinions on certain types of films that we've seen, we tend to land a lot in the same general vicinity. I mean, we were a mortar team.
See, this is like
our shells would be landing pretty near each other.
This is the Marvel line, and I think this is the.
I want to see that's a little unfair, although.
And I'll talk about the whole Marvel DC thing.
Richard will be happy to tell you.
I will explain where I'm coming from.
That he is partial. Not biased towards, but partial towards the DC properties because they're a fairly new phenomenon.
Right, and because this was all coming about because of Batman versus Superman, Batman v Superman. When that movie came out, it got a lot of bad reviews.
I'd like to say that it started even before then.
Even Man of Steel got bad reviews.
Man of Steel, but so did Iron Man 3, I felt unfairly.
But I don't know. For me,
Iron Man 3,
Superman. I think.
See, and it's that type of response where,
but I mean,
that is the prevailing theme.
Look, but
this is what I want to preface this discussion on.
I like Shane Black. Okay,
sure. I like Shane Black. I thought it was good.
There seems to be a phenomenon where the prevailing feeling towards a film becomes the narrative that surrounds it. So if a film is by and large regarded as being poor, then any notion to the contrary, even if you're just giving a minor nod, like say, it was bad, but that but can land you in it makes you subject to ridicule in some circles. Like, it is completely within the realm of possibilities to where if you like a film that is widely panned by like say for example
John Carter.
Sure John Carter. Like, God knows I couldn't find anything redeemable about that film, but that's just me. But say a film like let's say the Fantastic Four. If anyone had found anything redeemable about that film, and again, I'm not one of those people, but if anyone had, they would have been subject to ridicule, and in many people's minds, rightly so. And it becomes this echo chamber where the groupthink, where the consensus,
mob mentality,
becomes the overarching narrative, where that is the accepted.
Okay, so I'm gonna
on a film.
I'm gonna interject something here, just
Sure,
so
please.
everyone can catch up. At this juncture, you need to understand that we're basically talking about Marvel versus DC.
I don't.
And hold on, and I'm saying this, and I'm gonna explain to you why.
Okay, sure.
I'm sure some of you all, either before you saw the movie Suicide Squad, or if you have not seen Suicide Squad, you have already heard that it's gotten bad reviews. How many of you all have heard that Jason Bourne got bad reviews? How many of you all even remember that Jason Bourne came out? Now, we went and saw Jason Bourne because those of us that are fans of the Bourne movies were probably going to see it. But the fact that it was rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, it was in the 50s in percentile, it was considered a rotten movie. How many of you all knew that before the movie came out? This is what I'm talking about. There is a narrative, like Mike said, that's being selectively chosen on certain movies because of the reaction that fans will have to that narrative.
I'd like to say in the Bourne in particular, that film, the prevailing narrative on that was that the negative response to the film was a reaction to
but I didn't know
any negative reviews that
but my
Ghostbusters had gotten. So
right.
There was this, again, and that was the overarching narrative that was being spread, was that the negative reviews of the film should be disregarded because a small number of the film reviewers had given positive reviews to Ghostbusters and therefore should be discounted.
Okay.
Because anyone who liked it clearly had some sort of bias against anyone in a male lead in the film, and that becomes the overarching story in the critical community. So,
but I'm not talking
there's
about
these stories that sort of surround reviews.
What I'm talking about is
more of the story than the actual review itself.
What I'm talking about is when I saw Suicide Squad with Henry on Thursday night.
Sure.
It was a Dutch date, by the way.
It was a Dutch. I paid and he paid.
They're a modern couple.
It had already been widely publicized that Suicide Squad had gotten negative reviews.
That's not unlike what I'm getting to.
Hold on, no, I'm not done. We saw Jason Bourne on a Tuesday. I had not heard any reviews about it at all. Nothing. There had been nothing in the papers. There had been nothing on the internet websites. There had been nothing on anything. Nobody was talking about that movie. And yet, somehow, some way, I saw it. I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't my favorite Bourne movie, but I enjoyed it.
A necessary sequel either.
No, I mean, I think they're just trying to bring it back. It was a very successful property, and they're trying to bring it back, and that's fine. Movies are movies, and a lot of times we just want what we just want what we like, and let's just give us more of what we like, and that's fine. But my whole point in all of this is, when I stepped into the theater of Jason Bourne, I had no idea about the critics, but yet critics had gone out of my way, or at least the entertainment websites had gone out of their way to tell me that Suicide Squad was getting slammed before I got to see it. That's my point. Why did Suicide Squad get all of this attention that Jason Bourne did not?
I don't know that that's necessarily true, because I did see a great deal of press before the official opening of the film that certainly were putting forth that narrative that the film was bad, and the story evolved into this rivalry between sort of the feminist community and the nerd community.
I'm unaware of it.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to side with Richard on this because, I mean, movies that are not necessarily pop culture, like Jason Bourne or The Free State of Jones, or if a mainstream movie gets bad reviews, it won't come to pop culture light like maybe a Ghostbusters or a Guardians of the Galaxy or Suicide Squad.
The Free State of Jones is actually
attention.
an interesting case study in this particular phenomenon, because that film, widely panned by the critical community, still didn't do great as far as financially at all. By any stretch of the imagination, that film did not. It will likely go down as a flop. But when you look at the disparity between the critical reviews and the audience reviews, there was this anticipation for the film, maybe because of the actors involved, maybe because of the subject matter involved, but
Civil War.
There was a buzz.
The original Civil War.
Yes, a buzz surrounding the film that had people excited.
I'll drink for that one. Which the original Civil War. That was awesome.
Okay, I'll give you a minute for that. That seems to be muted. So there's a couple things happening where before you see a film, there's an expectation where some viewers are gonna lean on the reviews to inform their purchase, because there's people spending disposable income on these films, and they want to know whether or not they're making whether they're spending their money wisely or not.
People are going to go see Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Iron Man 3. They're going to go see it regardless.
Absolutely. And there's also a contingency of fans that are film fans, not just comic fans or comic movie fans, but just the viewing masses, the same people that line up for any number of Kevin Hart or Melissa McCarthy films, even though they're not my cup of tea. Clearly marketable commodities.
Spy was pretty cool.
Yeah, I hear that. Just not something I'd ever personally want to see. But
you didn't see it
completely. That film didn't do bad. Poorly.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
You should watch Spy. It's actually pretty good. It's surprisingly good. I'm not a McCarthy fan at all, but I actually did enjoy that movie. I saw it on HBO.
Was Chris Pine in that one too? Chris Pine was
no, it's Jason Statham, and also the other guy. I'll remember it right now. He's another English actor, pretty boy. I can't remember his name.
Was it?
Rose Byrne is in it also. I'll remember his name right now.
McGregor.
No, it's not McGregor. No. Jude Law. It's Jude Law. Jude Law. Cool. It's a really good movie, actually. If you haven't seen Spy, it is very good. But go ahead.
Quick aside.
Yeah. Right, so let's reel us back in. Clearly I think what I'm going to condense my thought thesis down into is that there is a disregard for personal taste with regard to film now that I think needs to be addressed. There is a validation that I think people seek when they search out for these reviews, and they tend to gravitate towards the ones that will validate their own personal opinions about a film. So you're willing to discount something that goes against your own personal biases.
Well, you definitely should pay the movie reviews, whatever movie sites or website you follow. If you should follow movie reviewers whose opinions you value.
Yes, and when in those cases where the opinion that you value, so say you're watching us, and we happen to land on the wrong side of a movie review, in your opinion. Should your reaction be to immediately say that, okay, those guys were always stupid. They never knew anything about films. I should have known never to watch those guys. Anyone who watches them must also be wrong. Because I like that movie. It was perfectly fine. What the hell do they know? They're just some guys. What do they know? They're just reviewers. They're probably paid to like that film or paid not to like it. Once you start going down that rabbit hole where you are willing to discount an opinion because it differs than yours, then you're going to get what you deserve. You're going to get the films you deserve.
The heroes you deserve.
I'm not drinking.
Follow, subscribe, all that shit. But seriously, when you get into that mentality where it's the red team versus the blue team, and if you're on red team
DC versus Marvel, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Those types of rivalries, they're not going to help the films.
Because there's a lot of variables. Because people are comic book fans and non-comic book. Marvel, DC, maybe a Jared Leto fan, not a Jared Leto fan.
I'll go as far as to say that the research we've done has shown that, by and large, and this is the research I've done.
I've done no research.
Okay. Okay, I'm a nerd. I do this. This is what we do. What I do. Sorry. It's shown that, by and large, about 70% of the action films that get put out are garbage. And that's reviews that the fans are submitting and the fans that the reviewers are submitting. that about 30%, and there's variations in between the films and certain outliers that wherein there's complete parity, where we agree and the reviewers agree that the films are either awesome or garbage, but they're outliers. So there's only about 30% of the actual films that come out that are palatable, one way or the other. Surely some of them land on, the reviews are going to land on one end or the other, where the audience likes the film a little bit more than the critics like the film, or the critics like the film a little bit more than the audience like the film, and that breeds this disparity between the two, this rivalry between the two, wherein one looks like they don't know what they're talking about, and the audience could argue that the critics' fingers are well off the pulse of the American public, and they don't know what anybody really likes. They're either failed film students or they have some axe to grind with the studio. I think we've heard examples of that before, where people write off good reviews for, say, a Marvel product as blatant fanboying. Like, oh, you just like Marvel, so you're going to like anything they put out. When you look at the raw numbers of it, a film like Civil War, widely lauded by the audiences, widely lauded by the critics, the numbers that the film put forth were certainly within parity of those two separate review sets. So you had the fan reviews, you had the critic reviews, you had the actual financial, the monetary gain that the film gained, and all of that was in sync. So when we're on, we're on, but when we're off, it tends to be all based around our own personal prejudices. And when those prejudices are challenged in one way or the other, we tend to kind of want to find an echo chamber. We don't want to hear that the film we loved had anything wrong with it, even when it's minor, even when it's something simple. Like, we just finished reviewing Suicide Squad. A lot of what we didn't like about the film could easily be picked apart by any rabid fanboy of the DC universe, and anything that we liked could easily be picked apart by any rabid fan of the MCU. But none of them were dishonest. They were our true feelings about the film. And if you landed on one side or the other of the film, you could say, okay, yeah, I agree, or oh, yeah, I disagree, and then move on with your life. But when you feel like it's a personal affront to your values as a person, or your values as a film goer, or a fan of any particular brand of these comic book films, it's a disservice to the genre of the film, because it makes us all look like idiots. It makes us look like babies, and it's also a disservice to the actual filmmakers, because now they don't know what the hell we like. They think, okay, I'll just always do it this way and it'll be good, and we get this bland, diluted product that ends up being rather formulaic, and at the end of the day might end up being boring as a result. You can certainly make that argument, and I'll even drink to that because I deserve it.
All right, so that's
even though that's not my phrase. And then on the other hand, you get filmmakers that are taking chances, and Richard has touched on this many times, where you get filmmakers that are taking chances on a genre, that are making leaps and trying to give you a bit more of depth in a type of character or subject matter.
So if they do that and it succeeds, they're like, great job, you took a leap. But when it fails, like, why did you do that?
Out come the pitchforks and the torches, and we're happy to lynch them for their failed attempt at giving us what we love.
Right.
This is all, they're all using the spaghetti method, let's be honest. They're throwing shit against the wall and praying that something sticks. And when it all sticks and it's great,
that was great.
Standing ovation. Fuck yes, that's exactly what we wanted. When it fails, there's this horrible part of the human condition that is happy to see it fail. And that's wrong. It's wrong no matter what side of the comic camps you land on. Whether you're happy to see a DC film succeed, like at the Dark Knight trilogy, or you're happy to see it fail, like BVS, or in some critics' minds even this new film, The Suicide Squad,
Green Lantern, perhaps.
Oh God, yes.
Green
Lantern. Hell, Fantastic Four. It's not like Marvel's flawless in their
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Good God.
Jonah Hex.
They certainly put forth their garbage films.
Howard.
But we give it a pass because no, the last one was good.
And remember, there was a time where 80s, 90s, it was DC was putting out movies and Marvel wasn't doing anything.
No.
Now they're both doing out movies, but now Marvel.
No, they ran that Batman franchise damn right into the ground, and then a resurgence.
Sure.
A resurgence with Batman Begins. Right. Where the hell did that come from? And now we're in love with it again.
Yeah.
And now everybody cares again. And everybody lands on one side of the fence or the other.
It's like they threw a batarang and they came right back to where it started. That's what they do. All right, so let's segue on over here, mosey on over here, Richard.
Now that I've given my dissertation, Richard.
Yes, so you heard his dissertation. So what say you?
I'm going to go back to the basics here. If you actually care what the critics say, then accept what they say, and if you don't want to watch the movie based on what they tell you, then don't watch the movie. If you do watch the movie and you think that they were right, then they were right. The problem that I'm seeing that's been festering is that if you don't like the movie and I did, that somehow I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Or that somehow I'm being a fanboy. I don't understand that. I will absolutely 100% value and accept your opinion, and I would love to have a discussion. I had a discussion just this show right now where a young man was telling me how it was funny because he kind of backtracked a little bit. Mm-hmm. At first he said Suicide Squad wasn't very good, but then at the very end he gave it a 7 out of 10, which is a passing score. And I was talking about, look, Rotten Tomatoes has it like at a 20 something. I mean, is it a 20 something movie? And he's like, well, no, but well, and like he was kind of like he was afraid to say he liked it. And I don't know if this mob mentality exists. And I'm going back, and when I interjected earlier and I said I'm going back to Marvel and DC, because this phenomenon really is only, I think, happening with these two companies, and it's been going on since the comic book days when we were in like high school. Okay, Marvel and DC have always been rivals. They've always been trying to outdo each other. Yeah, obviously DC's been around longer, and one could argue that maybe 70%, 60% of Marvel's characters are in some way, shape, or form copies of DC characters. And then they'll say, well, but Marvel did them better, and that's fine. Again, it's a back and forth kind of a deal. When Joe Quesada came on board and became editor-in-chief, he really riled up the troops there at Marvel, and they were really back in the 90s, and they had Jim Lee, and they had Don McFarlane, and Mark Silvestri, and Michael, and all these big names.
The 90s were a dark time for comics too, though. The
implosion happened, but that's where it all started.
Industries suffered from that.
That's where it started. And so now, in those times, Marvel movies were like an afterthought. There were no Marvel movies. In fact, Marvel went bankrupt, and they were forced to sell. In case you don't know this,
that's where the story. Yeah.
Marvel was forced to sell their rights to Spider-Man to Sony, and they were forced to sell their rights to X-Men and the Fantastic Four and all related characters to Fox.
Correct. That's why
this was before Marvel Studios even existed.
Correct.
Then they hammered out a couple of Punisher movies.
It was all traced to Blade.
Mm-hmm. And then Blade happens, and then all of a sudden now we flash forward to, and then of course DC had their run of success, and then they had their run of failures. But they both had runs of failures. People don't realize, oh man, I can't believe you all had Batman and Robin. Well, yes, but you all also had the Fantastic Four movies. You also had you can go either way. We can't be selective about this. They've both had hits and they both had misses.
Yes, totally.
The advantage is that somehow, some way, Marvel Studios was formed as a separate entity, and they launched their new MCU with Iron Man 1, which I loved. we were still smack in the middle of, I think, the Nolan verse, right? The DC trilogy. And I was a fan of Batman Begins, and I really liked The Dark Knight. But what I didn't like, as much as I like, and I love Christopher Nolan, I loved Memento, and I loved, Inception. I just didn't like that he was grounding Batman in this kind of real world kind of setting where there were no metas, there were no flying, there was nothing. It was just like a real world superhero type, like a Green Arrow. I like it. I mean, I didn't hate it. It was just something that bugged. Like, I just wished that he had embraced all of DC and not just that aspect of it.
I get where he was going though. He's like wanted to make crime dramas that happened.
So and like I said, as much as I loved it, I wanted what Marvel was doing with like Iron Man, like just going full out superhero. And we weren't getting that from Nolan. We just weren't. So Iron Man 1 was great. Iron Man 2 was not so great. No. And it's okay to say that. It was not so great. Iron Man 3, not so great. Now, Shane Black, to his credit, it was okay, but there was a lot of things that were just weird about it. The Thor movies, not so great. Captain America, I actually liked part 1 a lot more than part 2, but that's just because of the whole story thing.
Movie. Yeah. See previous podcast.
Yeah.
Link in description.
But the point of where I'm going is Marvel, for its hits, has also had as many, maybe if not more, misses. But that's fine, and that's fine. I like I said, people ask me, oh, you don't like Marvel? I totally do. I loved Iron Man 1. I loved Captain America. I loved Ant-Man. There are just certain movies that spoke to me, and I really, really enjoyed them. I do not.
She's over Ant-Man.
Yeah, I do. I really like
Ant-Man. I have a DC fan. He loves Ant-Man.
I love Ant-Man. I'm a Paul Rudd fan. I'm an Evangeline Lilly fan. Michael Pena. Everything worked in that movie. It was just. I can see that movie over and over again, and that's kind of the way I do kind of rationalize things in my brain. Is this a movie I can see over and over again, or is this a movie that I just can't bear to watch it again? I saw Batman v Superman 7 times, and I could probably see it more. And that's just me. I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying that's me.
Yep, I was bored to tears, but
and I've already seen Suicide Squad twice, and it's only been out for 3 days. So
savage,
disappointing.
What's interesting now is that DC is making a push to compete in a full-fledged superhero universe, now it seems like the Marvel fan base is fighting back. Was Man of Steel perfect? No. But did I like it? Yes. I loved the battle. Yes, they destroyed all of Metropolis, but it was spectacular. And I looked at my friend, I don't know who I watched it with, I go, this is what it looks like when two gods battle over a city. And it was amazing. I mean, this was like true comic book stuff at its finest.
Because he was learning to be Superman.
And he was learning to be Superman. He had never been Superman. He had no idea what he was doing. And so then we led into BVS, Batman vs. Superman, and now we're leading into Suicide Squad. And I'm a fan. Am I saying they're perfect movies? Am I giving them 10 out of 10? No, I'm not. There are problems. But in my opinion, the positives outweigh the negatives. The problem that we're seeing here right now, and this phenomenon that's happening, is that if you're going against, well, Rotten Tomatoes said it's bad, it must be bad. Well, why don't you watch it and decide for yourself? It's okay to do that. It is okay to do that. And if you like a movie, that doesn't make you a fanboy. I like Ant-Man, and I like DC. I prefer DC, but I still like Ant-Man. I still like Iron Man. I still like Captain America. I just enjoyed Suicide Squad. I enjoyed Batman v Superman, and it's okay to do that. I just don't understand how all of a sudden now it's becoming this kind of like it's almost a mob mentality. Mm-hmm. And it's very dangerous because then you start making arguments that make no sense. And I'm going to give you an example, and it's a very brief example. Somebody came up to me and said, well, I go, did you see Suicide Squad? I said, yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I don't know. What happened? Yeah, the ending was stupid. What do you mean the ending was stupid? Well, it wasn't realistic the way Harley was able to defeat Enchantress. And I argued, because I knew where this guy was coming from. And I said, so you mean it was less realistic than the dance-off at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy? And he smiled. Well, and I said, well, what? Are you forgiving that and not forgiving this? We can't have it both ways.
The dance-off was stupid.
It was, but people never talk about it. And then that's fine. I don't hate
Guardians. It was stupid by design.
I don't hate Guardians of the Galaxy, but don't tell me Suicide Squad is bad and then select that moment when you didn't select that moment. You're selectively critiquing something, and it doesn't work that way. You cannot critique something selectively like that. Even when we did Suicide Squad, we all agreed there were problems with it. There were problems with it, and I'm the first one that tells you there were problems with it. But I tend to focus on the positive. And if somebody asks me, "Hey, Rich, should I watch this movie?" The positives for me outweighed the negatives. Absolutely watch it. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Watch the movie. Decide for yourself. In fact, most of the time, if somebody asks me that, I'm going to tell them, you know what? Watch the movie. Watch the movie. I mean, I thought it was good. You may not think it's good, and it's okay. And it's okay. But when you're going to come to me, tell me, you know what? I didn't like it because the ending with Harley Quinn wasn't realistic enough. That's you're just making stuff up now.
Yeah, the chingazo way.
Yeah, the chingazo. Okay, that's a callback. That's a callback to Diablo. Diablo, long may he live. And so I think we're coming into this mindset that, I don't know, look, if you didn't like Suicide Squad, that's awesome. If you liked it, that's awesome. But don't act like you're just going with the flow. Like, you know what? Well, people are going to think of something because I say I like it, so I'm going to just say it was stupid. Just like what you like, but respect other people's opinions as well.
Some people have this far out theory that there's a conspiracy anti-DC. What do you think about that? I mean, the people are just going to slam DC with no matter what product.
Okay, that's a great question,
sure.
And I have an answer for that.
Well, let's start with, let's go with Mike.
Mike, you answer that first, and then I'll answer it too.
Do you think there's an anti-DC conspiracy?
There's no anti-DC conspiracy.
Where are you basing that off of? Where's your stats?
Where are my stats?
Yes, nerd, come on. Where's your stats here?
Here are my stats.
Sure.
Okay, listen carefully. Okay, you can find a bias against any type of film if you look hard enough for it.
I'm biased against this answer already.
If you hunt for anything that supports your confirmation bias,
if you want to hate something,
you're going to find it.
You're going to find it.
If you search the internet for something that tells you that eating chicken soup is going to give you violent diarrhea, you find one article that supports that, you're gonna be like, ha!
I told you.
See, this guy said,
yeah, he said it.
Chicken salad, soup, anything with chicken,
yes,
violent diarrhea, you're gonna get it.
I'm out.
This guy said it. I'm done with chicken.
I'm done with chicken.
If you hunt for it.
And that's where we edit Henry out.
Just bleep that. We need to bleep that. If you that was bad.
No. I need a minute. I can't even continue. Let me get this train back on the rails. Internet, listen to me carefully. If you hunt carefully enough,
and your name is Mike,
that supports for your confirmation bias, you will find it.
Absolutely.
If you are looking for things to tell you that a film is terrible or awesome, you're going to find it.
It's okay to have your own opinion. It really is.
Don't let the internet become a circle jerk. Don't let it become an echo chamber. Form your own opinions. Have your own thoughts. Have enough confidence in what you think that it's okay when it's different from the mob.
And
when it's different from the mob, don't feel bad. And when it coincides with the mob, you're not inherently wrong. You're not a fucking fanboy just because you believe what everybody else does. It's consensus for a reason, but the consensus isn't always right. Your personal opinion matters. If you enjoyed a film that everybody hated, guess what? You saw the cloud. You saw the silver lining in the cloud. Good for you. Tell other people what it is you liked. If they don't like it also, fuck them.
I mean, seriously, is Mike's opinion the end all? Is Henry's opinion the end all? Is mine? Well, mine might be.
Our opinion is no more important than yours. Your opinions on a film are every bit as valid as ours. Richard spent a good deal of time actually explaining this to me. We discussed this earlier today, where if you're going to have an opinion, which is not a fact, an opinion about a film, that it's good, that it's bad, that a thing you liked about it was good, but this was bad. That's yours. You own that. That belongs to you. That's yours only. And if it happens to coincide with another man's, good, great. You found someone that you
found a drinking buddy.
Yeah, you found a drinking buddy. And hell, the next film you watch, you might disagree entirely. That's fine. That's how we grow as people. You know, we're okay with differing opinions. Yeah. It's not an affront
fan
to
number
our
11.
own.
We're looking at you, fan number 11.
Yeah,
you know who you are.
Differing opinions are not an affront to yours. It's just different. It's just different. Live with it. And this goes with all aspects of the internet. Okay, there's topics we won't touch on this type of review, but don't let the internet decide what you think. I think Richard would completely agree with this sort of opinion, that you can't let other people dictate what you think, even if they're experts in the field.
It's like the most amusing thing that I hear is, hey, I have an opinion. If I don't like it, I can tell you. That's great, but I have an opinion too. Mm-hmm. And just because you have yours and you hate it doesn't mean I have to. Okay, yes, I get that you have an opinion, but so do I. But to address the conspiracy, I don't believe there's a conspiracy, but this is what I think is happening. And maybe I'm right and maybe I'm wrong.
That's your opinion.
It is my opinion.
I think he's wrong.
But in this day of social media, clicks matter. All right, clicks matter. And I subscribe on Facebook. I really use Facebook a lot as a news feed. I have a lot of different entertainment sites, Cinema Blend, Comic Book News, Comic Book Resource. There's a lot of them that maybe you all, IGN. There's a lot of them, Nerdist. There's a lot of them that you all may have. And I saw something today that made me laugh. Because...
Was it that girl that fell over at the expo?
No. These, why do we even have this guy here? This, you see, I lost my train of thought. All right, so there was 2 articles right now that happened. Okay, so if I'm a newspaper, if I'm a blogger, or if I'm an entertainment site, and how do I want to get clicks onto my site? Well, I already know that DC Comics and DC movies have a fan base. I know that, and I know that there are diehard DC fans that love Suicide Squad, and they just want to see it, succeed. So if I want to get clicks, what would be the best thing for me to do?
Say that it was a good movie.
Or
say it was a horrible movie.
Because if I say it's a horrible movie, what am I going to get? First, they're going to click on to see why I hated it. And then 2, what are they going to do?
They're going to comment.
They're going to leave comments. So on one article, and maybe you all already know this by now that we're recording this on a Sunday, so you'll already know, but I read several articles on my feed saying, Suicide Squad, record August opening, right. Worldwide $267 million. It actually had a better opening, the best August opening ever. And most of these topics had that.
Because nothing opens in August.
Guardians did. But then I came across another article, and I kind of smiled to myself because I knew what these guys were doing. Instead of saying, Suicide Squad breaks all these records, this is what this headline said. Despite a 40% drop on Saturday, Suicide Squad still makes X amount of dollars.
Yep.
Why do you put that? Despite a 40% drop. And this is what I'm talking about certain news outlets creating a narrative to generate clicks, to generate comments, to generate drama, so people get all bent out of shape and start arguing.
Certain. Every one of them. Every news outlet out there right now, even the most beloved, wants views.
Yeah.
They want views. They want you to click. They want you to click. They want you to click because you agree with them. They want you to click because you disagree with them. They want you to click because you're happy. They want you to click because you're sad. They want you to click because your thumb lands on a recipe that they put forth on the internet. They want you to stop and listen. You're consumers. Mm-hmm. They know you're consumers. They want to feed you things to consume so they can sell you ad revenue.
So is it a conspiracy against DC? No. But it is a conspiracy against fanaticism.
Correct.
Okay? I'm going to use your fanaticism against you. I'm going to figure out a way to use your emotion against you, and I'm going to slap something on the internet. I'm going to slap something on Facebook that you're going to react to,
clickbait.
To click it, and I call it clickbait, and a lot of y'all can do it too.
Sure.
And then you read the article, and then you start, this guy doesn't know anything. He didn't even watch the movie, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? Mission accomplished. You read their article. You made a comment. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter. Mission accomplished, and all they do is rile you all up.
Yeah, but the clickbait and kind of going back to Facebook, Facebook is always changing their algorithm. So for people to see their page or even our page, people need to interact with our page more, whether it's likes, shares, or comments.
Yes.
People need to engage with our page for people to see our page and for other people to see our page.
Is your assertion that the mechanisms by which these articles are
the more comments generated by an article, the more you're going to see it.
Correct.
And that's good. As a business model, that's very good.
Yes.
So don't buy into it, guys. Again, if you if you prefer one side over the other, or if you prefer both, if you want both to succeed, because honestly, we do want both to succeed.
Yeah, and I get it. It's entertainment. Go ahead and click on these articles because it's fun.
I think we're comic book fans.
We need to be both. We need to be fans of both.
You're not DC, we just want to see comic book movies.
Right.
And right now we're in a great time where we're seeing both companies churning out really good stuff. Yes, they're not perfect, but it's good entertainment and it's superheroes.
We can condense our message today down to one specific theme. It's that we live in a blessed
10 years ago, where were all comic book movies? I mean, TV and TV movie and Netflix.
Not good ones, not bad ones. We had squat. Yes. We had nothing. We prayed.
We have an embarrassment of riches right now.
We had the what ifs. Oh, dude, what if they made this into a movie?
Yes.
How awesome would that be? Now it happens, and we have the privilege of being both delighted and disappointed when these things come to fruition.
Go see a bad movie, and they'll probably make a sequel, and they should improve on the bad film.
Sure, you'd hope they
would. You would hope.
Don't go see a bad movie out of spite. Poor Raven. Sorry, Raven.
Raven. Man.
Don't see a bad movie out of spite. Don't see a movie that. Don't not see a good movie out of spite. Yes, let some of the reviews guide your dollars because that's being a proper consumer. But also value your own opinion. If you were swayed by the trailer and you think it's something you might enjoy, go check it out for yourself. You know better than anybody that your opinions don't always land in line with everybody else's.
And that's okay.
That's fine.
I mean, like the Oscars. I mean, not everyone's favorite film or actor wins the awards.
Shit, I haven't seen a third of the films that were nominated as Best Actor.
My vote was for Straight Outta Compton, by the way.
Yeah. All the films that were nominated for Oscars, I saw maybe a third of them.
Right, but then there are people that...
And there were other movies that...
there are people that love that film. And
and they feel
deserved it.
Completely validated in having loved that film because, Oscar... Everybody that also thought that, let's just give ourselves an internet high five. Right. And that's what happens.
Well, I know, I've been there, Sineso. I've been there. I know what that's coming from. They all think that their film should have won.
The group thing is dangerous.
Yes, the group thing, sure.
I just think that... don't play into it, don't be a troll either. If you know that if you have a friend that leans one way, let him or her lean that way. If they're still watching both companies or if they're still watching both movies, they're still watching them. They just prefer certain characters. I mean, believe it or not, as many of you all that are huge fans of the Marvel universe and claim that it's better than the DC universe, y'all are still fans of Joker. Y'all are still fans of Harley. Y'all are still fans of Batman. I mean, these are characters that are iconic characters that everybody loves, and I've always argued that I think sometimes we hold those characters to a higher standard, but that's a different argument. I think right now you like what you like. If something happens that you don't like, fine, you can say, you know what, Rich, I didn't like the movie, and if I say I liked it, don't make a face. Oh, okay, well, that's cool, but don't say, well, why did you like it? Because you like DC? No, I liked it because X, Y, and Z. Why did you not like it?
Fan number 11, that's talking to you.
So, if you genuinely had, all of a sudden everybody's a film critic. I've heard so many people criticize the editing in this movie. And I'm like, wow, it's like all of a sudden everybody notices editing all of a sudden. Like, when did that happen? When did everybody become a film student? Like, all of a sudden...
I edit, to be fair.
I was just like, and I see it over and over, like, oh, the editing was crazy. It was, what was the other word that they used? I can't remember. But it was like, watch a movie like a regular person. If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. And that's it. End of story. period.
But going back to the editing, I think because of YouTube and because of technology, everyone uploads videos. So here's from the film perspective.
Yeah, but they're experts.
I know, but the good news is
the average asshole on Sunday watching a football game.
That's what I'm saying. It's Monday. It's Monday morning quarterback. It's the same thing.
The good news is everyone is a filmmaker. The bad news is everybody is a filmmaker.
That's the bad news. And like you brought up, Cine Sol, you have everybody thinks they're a filmmaker until someone else sees their movie, and then it's not good. Yeah. And it's like, well, you're being a hater. No, I mean, look, I get it. You took a class. I get it. You did this and that, and you're an auteur, and you think you've got talent. But, Christopher Nolan's and, these guys are few and far between.
First films.
David Fincher's. I mean, these guys are good for a reason. And if it was that easy, there'd be a bunch of them. There isn't a bunch of them. There's like 10 really good directors, and then there's everybody else. And I may struggle to come up with 10. Just because you took a class, it doesn't mean that you know what you're doing, and it doesn't mean that you don't. It just means that you're still learning, and everybody's still learning.
It also doesn't invalidate your opinion.
Right.
One way or the other. Whether you know exactly what's happening or you don't. If you have an opinion on a film, it's yours. Own it. It belongs to you. Don't expect everybody else to share it.
Right.
If they do, great. If they don't, also great. Who cares?
But this thing, I think what we're seeing right now, it's only getting worse and worse the more social media is just so much of our lives. And now people are, clinging their, this Rotten Tomatoes score for Suicide Squad was low.
That's a larger problem with social media in general.
And now we're
seek the echo chamber.
And now everyone's looking to Wonder Woman as that's it. If Wonder Woman fails, DC should just stop.
I don't know that I've heard that specifically, but some people might have that opinion. I don't happen
that
to.
Conspiracy theory.
Well,
yes, I don't know that that's a thing. I haven't heard that specifically.
Just
that if Wonder Woman fails, that it's the end of the DC film universe. No, that's ridiculous. No. It's gonna tell you what, that film's gonna at least break even. It's probably gonna be at least double its money for sure. Because Wonder Woman is a beloved character.
And the trailer looked amazing. We should do a podcast. Oh, you know what?
Did we do? I don't know.
You're just trying to make me cry.
I don't remember.
Final thoughts before we sign off here.
If I can condense everything we've discussed today down to one thought, it's that your thoughts matter. Your thoughts are important.
But so does everyone else's.
Absolutely right. Everybody else's thoughts also matter. Yes. And they're not wrong just because they're different.
Correct.
Okay? I happen to like Suicide Squad.
It's okay.
It's all right. You like it. I'm all right liking it. I shouldn't have to tell you that it's okay to like it. It should be a matter of course.
And if you like the dance off in Guardians, then I liked Harley cutting out her heart with a sword.
Exactly right.
It's okay. I liked it.
The dance off was hilarious and played. He doesn't. It was okay. Guess what? We're still going to share many rounds this evening. That's how it works, man. When healthy debate is differing opinions. If a debate was me saying, I think this, I also think this.
Yay!
That's true. Yay! And I'm a master debater myself.
He is. I've seen it.
Film.
I'm glad.
I should.
I did.
Final thoughts, Richard?
Keep an eye on this. I know a lot of you, maybe whoever that watches our videos, maybe may not be to that extreme, but there are people out there, and I know if you click on any article dealing with Suicide Squad right now, you will see people just going after each other.
People are calling Suicide Squad like a horrible movie.
It's bad. It's not. I don't even say it's bad. I mean, if you gave it a 7, he gave it a 7. A 70 is a passing score. Sure. Not every movie has to be 100.
No.
And so I've seen a lot of reviews, video reviews on YouTube and stuff where people they don't understand why it's so low. Some people maybe just don't know who the characters were. Maybe the style of storytelling, whatever it is. If you hated it, then you hated it. But if I liked it, then I liked it, and that's okay. And if you want to start nitpicking my movie, I can easily start nitpicking yours. Nitpicking, the easiest thing to do in the world is to be negative. That is the easiest. It's low-hanging fruit. It is the easiest thing to do to cut something down. Okay? It's harder to focus on positive stuff.
And if you nitpick something that I love, you don't win.
Right. You're not gonna win.
You don't win.
You're nitpicking
There's
stuff.
nothing to be gained. You don't earn a point on me that goes on some permanent record. There's nothing. There's nothing to be gained from it. You feel important for a minute. I promise you. Tell anybody else what you did, and no one will care as much as you do.
Yeah.
Nobody cares as much as you do.
But it is an interesting phenomenon, if you want to call it, and I know a lot of people are looking into this as to why there's such a, I know there was a stat, and I was kind of surprised that just came out this weekend that about 50% of the audience this weekend for Suicide Squad was women, and I mean we could all say that's probably the Joker Harley storyline, and that's fine. Sure. Hey, if you got it, use it. And about 25% of those women were 18 or younger, and they graded it as an A-, as an A or A- movie in CinemaScore.
I think a lot of guys went to go see it for Harley Quinn as well.
Sure.
Everybody's going to want to ride a Harley after this.
So when you have this new infusion, I mean, this is a first really for a comic book movie that much of the audience was female. It hasn't really happened before.
And non-comic.
Yeah. So look at the positive things, and they liked it. Women like this movie. It's a fun movie. Again, if you want to nitpick something, you can nitpick anything.
I would disagree with on this with Richard. Is it don't look for asterisks to put on your opinion.
Just watch it.
Don't look for it. Don't look for loopholes in what you think and to validate it. Just think what you think.
Just go watch a comic book movie, form your own opinion, but get that money in the box office so that
don't say keep making more. It was good because of that or because of this.
Right.
Because
enjoy it or don't.
Right.
Worst case scenario, they just stop making movies. Right. And that's not what we want. Because look, right now, I'm telling you something right now, even you Marvel fans, we're not going to see a whole lot more of Robert Downey Jr. We're not going to see a whole lot more of Chris Evans. Yep. Look at what's coming down the pipe. And if you're excited about Doctor Strange and Black Panther and Guardians 2, that's fine. But after that, what's next? Right now, let's look forward to a new DC universe with these new movies coming out, because this is what's going to kind of not take over, but it's going to have to hold us over because those other guys are out. They're not going to be there forever.
Bollocks to that. It's still more comic book movies. Still more comic book movies.
And they're going to wind up having to recast. They may recast Captain America. They may recast Iron Man, Iron Girl, whatever she is now, right?
Sure, yes, because there's
you might get Riri Williams, man. That's awesome.
Right.
That's cool.
So
let's see that happen.
But people are going to be upset about that.
Screw it. Make it good. Make it good. Just make it awesome.
Trust me, it's easy. It's easy to be upset, and it's easy to cut stuff down. That's the easiest thing to do. It takes no talent to hate on something.
Go to a comic book movie and show your financial support so they do more. That's all that counts. And form your own opinion.
Keep watching them so that way they can keep making them.
That's right.
Because
that's all that counts.
We don't want them to just stop altogether.
That's right. Let your dollars talk, because that's what talks more than anything else. Reviews don't matter. Personal opinions don't matter. To you, they do. But your dollars. That's what the studios look at. If you want them to keep making the kind of movie that you like, buy the DVD, buy the merchandise. Yeah. Go see it again. Buy the comic books. Right. Find out what was what. Go look at the back issues. Everything's digitized now.
Yes.
Get your iPad. Buy a bunch of that digital stuff. Find out, okay, what was this character like back in the day? You don't have to make it a fucking research paper, but shit, have fun with it. Maybe you want to know, where did Captain Boomerang come from? Who is this guy?
Or who was Diablo?
Yeah.
Why was Flash like connected to Boomerang, right?
Yeah. What's his story? What did I miss? What's going on?
If they get you started on reading comic books, then that's great.
That's awesome. That's actually the best part.
Totally.
You know what? I envy the new comic book movie fan right now because they have so much material to go through.
Like, who's that?
Yeah. And they get to go down that rabbit hole.
Right.
For the first time ever.
Totally. And it's more affordable because, again, it's all digital now.
Yeah, hunting for back issues used to be murderous.
Sure. Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah. What were you going to do if the comic shop in your town didn't have what you needed? Now it's digitized. Or better still, on trade paperback.
Or online.
Yeah.
Even before online, before eBay.
Yeah.
Where were you going to get that issue?
If you're not the kind to read a comic book, there's maybe the animated film about it.
Yes, totally.
Because DC and Marvel have both been putting out animated films based on their larger story arcs. It's awesome. It's a great time to be a comic book fan.
Yes, I agree.
New and old.
Right, that's it. So
just it does exist. There is a thing going on, and I know people are starting to kind of talk about it more, especially with the whole, hey, but Rotten Tomatoes says, well, fine. but watch it for yourself, because this movie, even more so than Batman v Superman, this movie has a huge disconnect between what the fans are saying, or not even fans, what the general audience is saying versus what the critics said. This movie is very different, and so you make up your own mind. Watch it yourself. If you hated it, you hated it. If you liked it, you liked it.
That's right.
And maybe you can figure out why the critics hated it so much, and be more succinct than just the editing.
Hell, make a response video. Tell us where we're wrong.
Sure. Yeah. All right, that's it. Episode 19, The Heroes You Deserve. Henry?
Mike.
And I'm Richard.
Swamp Thing, I'm going to get my man thing, and we're out of here. Sayonara.
Mike, turn your head. Turn your head.
But don't cough. Bye, everybody.
Bye.